Welcome to Sinjag Tales, where we embark on a fascinating journey through the chronicles of history. Today, we're delving deep into the mystical world of ancient Egypt, a civilization that has captured the imagination of people for millennia. But this isn't just any history lesson. We're about to unravel one of the most captivating and enduring stories of ancient Egypt, the myth of Osiris. Prepare to be transported back in time as we explore the legends, the mysteries, and the profound symbolism that surround the life and afterlife of Osiris, the god of the underworld, and his eternal quest for rebirth. From the fertile banks of the Nile River to the magnificent temples that stood as testaments to their faith, the ancient Egyptians left behind a legacy that continues to intrigue and inspire us today. Join us on this epic adventure as we unveil the secrets of Osiris, the ruler of the dead, and the profound impact of this myth on the beliefs and culture of ancient Egypt. So, sit back, relax, and prepare to be captivated by a tale that has transcended time itself. Our journey through the history of ancient Egypt and the myth of Osiris begins now. Osiris, as the firstborn, assumed rule as Lord of the Earth. His rule over Egypt was wise and just, bringing gift of agriculture to the land and prosperity to the Egyptian people. Isis was the daughter of the earth god Geb and the sky goddess Nut, and the sister of the deities Osiris, Seth, and Nephthys. She was also wife and sister of god Osiris. Osiris's brother, Seth, also known as Set, harbored jealousy and ambition. He desired the throne of Egypt and despised Osiris's popularity and rule. He made many attempts to claim the throne and take Osiris's place by showcasing he is more deserved for the throne, but failed every time. Seth hatched a plan to seize power. One night he silently went into Osiris's room and measured his body from head to toe. He then asked a carpenter to build a coffin for the measured size once it was built. He then, with his vicious intentions, asked a magician to seal the coffin with magical abilities so that once someone enters it, cannot come out alive. Seth himself knew that Osiris might not trust him. So Seth threw a huge party and invited Osiris as the guest of honor. The night was spent feasting, singing, dancing, and playing games. For the final game, Seth brought out the huge decorated magical coffin he had got built with his evil intentions. He announced that the first person to fit perfectly into the coffin would be allowed to keep it. One by one, each of Seth's friends climbed into the coffin. Unsurprisingly, no one was able to fit into the coffin, which was made perfectly for Osiris. Finally, Seth and his friends convinced Osiris to try his luck with the coffin. Osiris stepped into the coffin and lay down. The coffin fit him perfectly, just as Seth had planned. Just as Osiris lay down, Seth slammed the lid and sealed it shut. Seth and his friends took the coffin down to the Nile River and dumped it in, knowing that Osiris would never be able to survive. Osiris's wife and sister was devastated by his disappearance. When Isis heard the news of her husband's death, she was extremely upset. She rushed to the riverbank and after several days of searching found the wooden chest. Isis opened it and removed the dead body of her beloved Osiris. Crying, Isis hid Osiris's body in the river grass. She didn't want Seth to find Osiris's corpse before she could perform the proper rituals that would allow him to pass into the afterlife. Later that night, Seth returned to the Nile to make sure Osiris's body had washed away. The coffin was nowhere to be found, But after searching the riverbank grass, he found the body of his late brother. Furious, Seth cut Osiris's body into 14 pieces. To make sure that the body was never found again, he hurled the pieces all over Egypt. The next morning, Isis returned to the river with her sister Nephthys to perform the necessary rituals, only to find Osiris's body gone. Isis transformed into a huge bird and flew high over Egypt. Using her sharp vision, she was able to find all the pieces of the body to put Osiris back together. They both then went to request help from god of the dead Anubis, the god of funerary rites, protector of graves, and guide to the underworld. With the help of Nephthys and Anubis, Isis performed a great act of magic. Very carefully, they began to sew Osiris's body back together. They worked together night after night. When the body was whole once again, they wrapped it head to toe in strips of linen, creating a mummy. On the same day, Isis used powerful magic to bring her husband back to life. Osiris embraced Isis and thanked her sister and god Anubis. God Anubis told them Osiris would not be able to stay in the world of the living. He explained that having died, Osiris was now part of the world of the dead, where with the guidance of god Anubis, Osiris would become the king of the afterlife. Before he left, Osiris told Isis not to worry. He told her that she would soon give birth to a son, Horus, who would defeat Seth and become a great protector of the Egyptian people. By taking back the throne from Seth, Horus would restore order and peace to the universe. When Horus was born, he was hidden away and kept safe from his evil uncle Seth. When he became of age, Horus finally confronted Seth, and they violently fought. During the fight, Horus's left eye was poked out, but magically came to life. Later on, the Wadjet, or Eye of Horus, became a powerful symbol to promote healing. Although Horus emerged victorious, there was still a large question of who legally had power to the throne. Seth believed that as Osiris's brother, he was the rightful ruler. But Horus argued that he should be proclaimed king, since he was Osiris's legitimate heir. Finally, the Divine Assembly agrees that Horus should have the authority to rule on earth as king, because Seth has shown himself incapable of ruling with his deeds. Thereafter, Seth was banished forever. It is also said that after the demise of Isis and Nephthys, they joined and served Osiris in the underworld, also known as the Duat. They both were a force before whom demons trembled in fear, and whose magical spells were necessary for navigating the various levels of Duat. Lessons and symbolism, which we can retrieve from this epic story. Osiris represented the qualities of a just and wise ruler, emphasizing the importance of leadership that promotes justice and the well-being of a society. Though he was killed by his brother Seth, Osiris still ruled the underworld, and Seth met its fate by losing to Osiris's son Horus. Horus, in league with the legacy of Osiris, was a wise and just ruler, with whose help Egypt soared to new heights of prosperity and wealth.